A Ferrari is leaving the shop for less than $2,000. How is that possible? Let's get started. This is a 1998 Ferrari 355. It does have the F1 transmission. It's roughly 40,000 miles on it. It's in very good shape. It had a list of concerns that really weren't major issues. We've already worked through all of them. And I'm disappointed. Under $2,000. Usually when I see these cars, I just like, wow, all right, $10,000. It's at least 10. It's not even going to be 2. So no, just kidding. No, I don't see that every time I see a Ferrari or a Lambo. Although it can very easily get that high very fast on one of these cars. This customer takes very good care of their vehicles. They have quite a collection of different vehicles, and it's obvious that they keep up on all the maintenance and everything because we didn't have to rip this thing all apart. It is not a hoopty. It is in actually fairly good condition. There are some little flaws here or there, but there's nothing seriously wrong with this car. It's easy to think, I can never afford a Ferrari. Those are so expensive, there's no way. You probably can, because this car, as it sits, will cost less than your Duramax, your 2018 or 2020 Duramax. Probably half. Because your Duramax probably cost $110,000. And then, just like we see here, less than $2,000, a lot of things are fixed. I know several shops north of here that work on just diesel pickups. I know the owners. And at any given time, their shop is full of diesel pickups with the cabs off. Because most everything on those, well, I got to do this procedure, the cab has to come off. We have to do that procedure, the cab has to come off. And the owner has told me a Duramax or a Power Stroke or Cummins rarely ever leaves his shop for less than $5,000. It's always 5, 10, 15, 20 grand over and over and over. So to say these cars are a money pit, they're all so expensive, no, your Duramax is a money pit. Prove me wrong. Now, the list that it came in, it had a suspension light on, he wanted the fluids checked, it had some issues with the e-brake, and various other little small things. The list wasn't very long, so we're going to go over that today. I'll have Danielson walk us through some of the things he found. This car is actually almost done and ready to go. So let's go ahead and go back to the rear bonnet or hood, whatever you want to call it. Danielson, in the Ferrari world, this is the best sounding Ferrari, even up to all the way to the new ones, isn't it?
I definitely like these a lot.
It definitely, to me, it is the best sounding Ferrari ever made and probably will ever be. Most Ferrari purists would agree. The 355 with the 5-valve cylinder head. How do you say it? Cinque valvoli?
Yeah, Cinque valvoli or something like that.
Yeah, Cinque valvoli. It was 5 valves. It gives it a unique sound, and with a Capristo Stage 3 exhaust on these, it'll literally raise the hair on your arms. It is beautiful. It's symphonic. It's awesome. Another thing that's beautiful is actually just under the hood. Let's go ahead and take a look. Here is a beautiful 3.5 liter V8. One of the most glorious sounding engines on the planet Earth. I didn't say the most, but it is one of the most. Very, very beautiful engine. The way it looks and also the way it sounds. One of the complaints was the suspension light was on the dash, indicating an error with the electronic suspension. Danielson is very familiar with these systems, and he knew right away to check these little red tops. What are these, Daniel? What do they do?
Those are little actuators or little motors. They turn a valve in the shock back and forth to stiffen or loosen the suspension.
Okay, so these just like have a little clip and they just snap on top of the shock?
Yes.
And you found, what was it you found on the front ones?
So I found on the front right, one of them wasn't all the way in.
So it's kind of popped loose?
Yes.
The motors actually were working just fine, the teeth were fine, but it just popped off.
Yes, it's always good to inspect the teeth on them because they usually break. I believe they're plastic.
Yeah.
And they tend to be broken, so that's the first thing you check before you start replacing stuff.
And you did that, you snapped it back on, turned the key on, let them all reset and everything, and the light went out, huh?
I went out instantly.
Instantly, fixed, perfect. It didn't have to be 20 grand to fix it. It just literally just took some diagnosis and check into it, and it was a very, very easy to correct that issue. One thing I want to show you guys while we're under the hood is the fuel block or the actual fuel line assembly in front here. And these are back at the firewall. You can see those silver steel braided hoses. Those are fuel lines. And there's a little fuel block there. Several different connections going on there. Those are the very fuel lines that failed on Hoovie's Ferrari 355. You guys remember that it had not had the campaign done, which it should have. But it did not have it done, and it actually leaked when I think Vehicle Virgins was borrowing the car, or actually had took delivery of the car for whatever was going on. I'm not sure what was going on. But one of those failed and actually burned the car to the ground. It was very unfortunate, and we definitely checked on this one here. It looks like the same setup, and even you were concerned, Danielson, that it's like, oh, that needs to have the campaign or hasn't been done yet.
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me, you know, but we looked it up.
Yeah, got a hold of my guy, Glenn at AMH Exotics, who actually sent me the campaign, 26 pages, all 26 pages of it. And he said, I went through this wizard and the VIN number on this car doesn't even apply to this campaign. And in fact, it's only like 94, 5, 6, 7, and really none of the 98s. This is a 98 and the VIN number is not on the list. So I have the documentation to prove that this does not need to have that done. We're very, very happy about that. So we can leave that alone. Be rest assured that that's not going to be a major issue. Even that so, the dealer is not fixing them now. The campaign period is over. So if it is found on a 94, 95, the independent shop is going to have to do the update. The dealer, I imagine they could do it, but it's not going to be free. So the independent shops can definitely take care of that update. Luckily, this one doesn't need it. The next issue was the convertible top moved very slowly, sometimes not at all, and then you pulled some of the center console off, and what did you find there?
I found that it was a little bit low on fluid, so I topped it off, and it seemed to actuate a little bit faster and a little bit more consistently, and that was pretty much the fix for it. You know, couple actuations to make sure it worked properly, and it's working great.
Right, went through, make sure all the hinges are good and lubed and everything's good to go. Actually works very well now. We did check around. There's no leaks or anything we could find on the floor or anything. It was just a little bit low. It wasn't like completely empty. It was just a little bit low. So we got that taken care of. Also inside the dash, you really can't see it very well, but here's a picture of one. It's a very common issue on these 355s, huh? What is it, the mode actuator? For the flap to adjust the where the vent is going to be pointing, if it's going to be up, down, or to the center. Yeah, so vent, floor, defrost, things of that nature. They fail. There are no new ones. They don't exist anymore. Really, there aren't any used ones. And what happens, the little gear inside, the plastic teeth break. The motor may still work, but it can't do anything. You can send those off to be rebuilt. They range from $500, $600, $700, $800 to have them rebuilt, depending on who does it. And then the labor to take it apart and reinstall it and go through and make sure it's all calibrated and happy. It could easily approach $1,000. We presented that with the customer, and just like any other 355 customer we've had in here, when we present that to them, they're like, no, I'm not going to spend $1,000 so I can flip the air this way or that way. Usually what we do is we fix it to the vent, and it stays there permanently, right?
I set the vent where they want it, put the motor back in, and the motor acts as a lock.
Yeah, it locks the flap in place, so now it'll be on vent permanently. So we have got that taken care of. It will work. It just won't be able to go between the different modes. It's a little bit too expensive, so we understand that. So the next things, we're going to actually raise this up in the air and take a look underneath this beautiful 355. So right off the bat, we can see there's little skid pads here built into the bumper just for this reason. These are very low riding cars, and there's going to be scuffs on pretty much all of these. Some people will actually buy aftermarket steel plates that screw into here, and just for that reason, to keep that from happening. But it's typical to see that on these. Obviously, there's no engine here. That's where the trunk is. This is very aerodynamic underneath. You really don't see much. It's a bunch of panels. Here's some ductwork to blow air on the brakes. Our shock is in good condition. It's not leaking. Our pads are nice and thick. Nothing loose there. Nice thick pads there. Sway bar link is good. The ductwork is all intact. No leaking shocks. Everything's nice and tight there. Underneath there's a bunch of lines and wires and things under here, but it just hides the bottom. Aerodynamic. And here we have the bottom of the engine. We just did an oil change on it and checked all the fluids. Everything looks good. But Danielson did show me there's these pipes. They're actually braided. You can kind of push it and you see that's steel braided there. These are main oil lines. There's one right up here. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see my laser right there. The line has a very, very tiny leak. Nothing to be too worried about at the moment. So you think it's an oil line, it's not expensive, it's nothing to worry about really. It's just send it in or get it rebuilt or whatever. They actually don't even make those anymore, huh?
They do not.
We actually had a 360 in the shop. It's a very similar setup. They're not available. They're gone.
We had the same problem with Hoovy. So with Hoovy, you know, they were all leaking, and then we reached out to this company and asked for a quote, and they wanted $7,000 to rebuild every line.
$7,000 to rebuild those lines. Most people, when you present them to them, they're like, nope. They underline the word, nope, not doing that. There are a few people that will, but most people won't. This one's really not much of a concern. It's not dripping all over the ground or not pouring. It's just the tiniest little seepage, so it's not worth that kind of money right now. But the last thing was the e-brake, what they would actually use it, and it didn't even do anything.
Yeah, he would pull the lever, and then the car will still move. So he wasn't very happy about that. Told us to get it done.
Yeah, and that's an adjustment that's in here.
Yeah.
So you can see this cable right here. It actually goes into underneath the CV shaft and behind the rotor where the e-brakes are. Same thing on the other side. You have to take the wheel off, take the brakes off and everything to do the adjustments and then put it all back together. But you got it all adjusted and now it's got good strong e-brake.
It does.
He put the e-brake on here the other day. We tried to push the car, it won't move. So we got that. That was a success. It just needed adjustment. So that's pretty much it. That's all we needed to do to this car. Let's go ahead and get this thing on the ground. So again, under $2,000, we took care of all these issues and then the car is now sound, ready to be driven, cruise, whatever they want to do with it. All the systems are back operational again. Except for the HVAC, we've got it to where it'll work, but the customer didn't want to mess with spending the money to have it rebuilt, which is understandable. You definitely like working on these, huh?
Yes. And everybody in the comments, please tell the wizard to buy one of these.
A 355?
Yes, please.
I would love to have one.
We need one in the fleet.
We need one in the fleet?
Yes, sir.
If you guys are out there and you have a 348, a 355, a 360, a 458, a 430, 456, any of those Ferraris, 550, 575, here's your guy.
Yes, please.
Send us your Ferrari. We would like to work on your Ferrari. We work on several of them. We definitely would like to increase that. We like working on them. So we'll get this buttoned up here. We'll get the ticket written and get this back to the customer and have a happy customer. Everything solved that he wanted. And he can cruise it here as spring gets here and enjoy some sweet Ferrari music. If you're curious what kind of tools we use to work on this 355, check my Amazon affiliates link in the description below. We get a small cut and we really appreciate it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. There's many more videos to come. Thanks for watching.